The Flash had Batman, it had Supergirl, it had the multiverse, and it still failed. So today I'm trying to rewrite The Flash to prove that it could have been the movie that saved DC. I mean, if this had worked, we probably would have got the James Gunn DC verse. And it started out well. Superman was alright, Supergirl looks pretty good. So maybe it was a good thing this failed, but we'll try and rewrite this anyway. Welcome to Popcorn Program. Here is my attempt at rewriting the 2023 Flash movie so that it actually works. Pop pop! But first, what actually happened? Barry Allen, played by Ezra Miller, is still struggling with the trauma of his mother's murder and his father's imprisonment for said murder. Believing that he can fix everything, Barry uses his super speed to travel back in time to prevent her death. He succeeds but at a catastrophic cost. Returning to the present, Barry finds himself in a fractured alternate timeline where there are two versions of himself, General Zod has returned to invade the Earth, and there is no Superman to defend the planet. Instead, Barry ends up teaming up with an older, retired Batman played by Michael Keaton, and a captured Kryptonian known as Supergirl played by Sasha Calle. As God's invasion unfolds, Barry learns a painful truth. Some events are fixed points in the timeline. No matter how many times he resets the timeline, certain tragedies just simply cannot be undone. Ultimately, he must accept loss rather than trying to outrun it. The film ends with Barry restoring the timeline, but not perfectly, as he leaves a DCU subtly altered as Ezra Miller gets stuck in the Clooney Tunes verse. There are two things worth talking about, however, before we get into my attempts to rewrite. First off is the CGI. It's not the worst CGI of all time, however, it's not by any standard good CGI, especially the big final showdown and the weird dome thing with all the people coming through it. Just no, none of that. However, there isn't anything I can really do about the quality of CGI with my story, so I'm just going to pretend that the film has good visual effects. And the second one is the actions of Ezra Miller, which was a unique marketing campaign, to say the least. But yeah, your lead actor starting to attack people and getting arrested isn't really a good look for your film, to be honest. So I'm also going to pretend like that didn't happen, because if I pretend it does, it doesn't really matter what story I've got, it's still going to fail. So with those out of the way, let's get into my rewrites. The things I'm going to keep about the story are the new timelines, the two Flashes, the different Batman, and Supergirl, still played in this case by the same actress, as she was excellent to be fair to her. Everything else is going. So I'm keeping the opening bit, the Flash working with Batfleck, then trying to fix his life and getting his parents back by using his super speed is good and, to be honest, quite interesting. The new timeline, however, results in bringing our Barry, played by Ezra, into the CW Flash world, and we meet our other Flash, played by Grant Gustin. And the way we're going to get him in is we're just going to ask him, because apparently Warner Brothers didn't ask him. So we're going to ask him, and hopefully he'll say yes. And in this world, he has said yes. So here he is. And I think here it would be cool to do a kind of cool Flash speedster battle, maybe across the city. It would be maybe look pretty cool. This results though in Grant capturing Miller and then taking him to Star Labs to interrogate him properly. This is where it reveals basically what Miller's done, using his super speed to rewind time and the effects that it's had. Get revealed here, and Gustin and the Star Labs scientists come up with a plan to help him get him back to his timeline. But first they need his help to defeat the big villain of the film, General Zod, because I enjoyed the performance of Michael Shannon, so it's staying. For this, they need the Bat. Now, as much as I want this to be Christian Bale, as he is my favourite Batman, and he's probably the best one, I do appreciate that the amount of money he probably would have cost to get him in would have been very silly, and his story was finished at the end of The Dark Knight Rises, so we shall use Michael Keaton. I suppose it's an acceptable backup alternative. So anyway, Miller goes to Wayne Manor to discover the older, retired Batman, Old Man Keaton. Miller convinces him to come out of retirement for one more mission, and they work together to get the Batplane, I don't know what it's called, the Batplane, back to functioning order. But before they can go, Miller asks if Keaton has any other people who could help defeat Zod, because obviously Miller in his world has the Justice League who can help him, so Miller assumes that Keaton must have some people like that. So Keaton says that he knows a person, but getting to them is difficult. This is where we have to break in to get Supergirl. And we're going to keep that bit, because that bit's in the original 2023 version. So we'll keep that kind of scene, because that was pretty cool. After they retrieve the Supergirl though, the Flash, Batman and Supergirl arrive at the battlefield to find Zod battling the CW gang of the Flash, Supergirl and the Legends of Tomorrow crew. Sadly, I am keeping Green Arrow's death, meaning no Stephen Amell, which is a bummer, but we've got to keep on with that continuity. And also anyone else who died during that, I know Green Arrow died, but I stopped watching The Flash at like season 4 and did Arrow at like season 3 and didn't really bother with any of the others, so hopefully no one else has died. Whoever's still alive by this point is in, and anyone who has died in their shows isn't. Just to be clear. So we have our new Justice League of America, which is far less impressive to be fair, but you know, what can I do? I can't just put everyone in I want in the film, otherwise I'd probably just make an entirely new film, bin off Ezra Miller as the Flash, probably just bin off the Flash as a whole, make a better Justice League film, probably just make a Batman film to be honest, because I don't particularly see the point. Like, the Justice League are a weird crew, because once you have Superman, everyone else is pretty much useless. Like, Batman can at least fund things for Superman, I guess. Like, everyone else, his job is essentially keep the kryptonite away. As soon as you have Superman, because he does everything everyone else does. Similar thing with the X-Men, in that Magneto is like ridiculously overpowered as soon as he puts that helmet on. So everyone else kind of becomes a bit useless. But what can I do? Back to this film though. The big battle commences. All hell has broken loose, Zod is dominating, but the two Supergirls are doing just enough to hold him up, whilst the two Flashes battle everyone else. Michael Keaton's Batman is flying around in the air, taking out some groups of people, blowing things up, you know, usual action movie, third act sort of stuff. This isn't going to be CGI, well, it's going to be bits of CGI, but it's hopefully not the entire thing's not going to be CGI. Hopefully. During the conflict though, Zod manages to overpower the Supergirls and manages to shoot down the Batplane, which crashes and explodes, sadly killing off Keaton. This enrages Barry's Flash, who starts sprinting around trying to rewind time again to bring back Keaton. Supergirl, or the Sasha Calle version, also flies around as well trying to bring back Batman. And this is where we get the big sphere thing. However, we are having none of the bonus cameos as they don't really add anything to the overall plot. After maybe 30 seconds of the pair spinning around together, we find Flash and Supergirl sat in a sort of big floating rock, let's say. And they're just kind of hovering there, there's a chair, okay, and in that chair, they walk around the chair, and kind of like in Black Panther Wakanda Forever, how when Shuri walks around, and it's Michael B. Jordan's Killmonger, we have that sort of thing. However, we have Martian Manhunter. And then they have a little chat with him about the fact, and the Martian Manhunter basically tells Barry that his world needs him. But Barry asks if he'll ever see his parents again. Manhunter assures him that he will, and they both get teleported to the same world, so we now have the Flash and Supergirl in a new world that we think is the original world from the beginning of the film. You know, the final little bit of the film I'm keeping, as George Clooney's bit is actually a bit of fun to be fair, and is probably where it makes sense for them to end off if you're going to reboot the entire thing with James Gunn, bringing him in. You know, you're going to recast Supergirl, of new Superman, if everything's starting again, it makes sense to kind of write them off in the thematic way. You could just say they're in a different universe now. Yeah, that's my attempt at rewriting The Flash. I'm hoping that this is better than what we got, whilst still being a sort of feasibility film creation. Obviously, if I had like an unlimited paycheck, I could have whoever I wanted in. I'd again probably just bid off most people, just make another Dark Knight film, just get Bale in, do anything else really. So anyway, on the changes I have made to The Flash, what do you think? Would you watch this version of The Flash, and what other films would you like to see me try and rewrite? Let me know in the comment section down below. If you've enjoyed this video, then be sure to give it a thumbs up and click the subscribe button if you are new around here. That's all for now, so I'd like to thank you for watching, and we'll see you later. Pop pop!